Hey, thanks for watching today. This week we have a double feature for the news. We just released an interview with our attorney in Alabama, Greg Stanley, covering some exciting tax lien auction news there and tax lien foreclosure news. And now this episode is going to cover all 20 markets in Alabama, state by state. So if you want to skip a state or jump ahead, just use the chapter markings at the bottom of the video on YouTube. And other than that, let's get started. There's a lot to cover. We're going to be talking about auctions, over-the-counters, resellers, everything. So for our market totals, we're looking at the last couple weeks of April as we're headed into May. We added 22,738 properties to parcel fair. 15,000 of those were liens, about 7,000 were tax deeds, 732 foreclosures, and only one land bank property was added. So that was kind of quiet for land banks the last couple weeks. If you break that down by state, Florida really had the most foreclosures by just a hair over Colorado, and then followed by Indiana to add up to 732. Over-the-counter properties, Alabama had the most properties added, and there's a technicality there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But behind them, there was not a ton added for Mississippi, Arkansas, Arizona, and Florida, just a handful here and there. So kind of a slow week on over-the-counters outside of Alabama. And lastly, if we're looking at auction properties, this is where the lion's share of the properties were added, about 20,000 of them. Maryland had about half at 10,000 properties, followed by Arkansas, close to 6,000. Alabama, around 4,000 properties added. And then it gets to the smaller ones, some of these small auctions that maybe happen year-round, so they don't have as many properties. So I won't read all those states off, but those states did have auctions added, or at least properties added to their auctions. So while we're talking about auctions, we've always been stopping by this part of the video just to remind you that we have a planning video that we released early in the year for 2024 that helps you get through the calendar for the year. These auctions are changing and being added daily, so that video is quickly becoming outdated. So right now we're tracking 1,194 upcoming auctions. That's just going forward. That's from today. Really, it's just May into June and July. We've already tracked thousands of auctions from January through April. So 1,194 auctions to choose from that are upcoming. And let's take a stop at our calendar. The Arizona auction was what led us off at the beginning of the year. Indiana's spring sales just closed out. Maryland started in March, but it's really just now heating up. Same with Alabama. It actually technically had one auction in March, then a few in April, but May is where it's heating up. Mississippi is finished with their spring auctions for the year. We're going to talk about Utah's deed auctions coming up, but they are starting up right now. Florida and Oklahoma, you're going to be hearing a lot about very soon, maybe as early as tomorrow, but for today, there's nothing new really to go over there. Arkansas, we have a lot to talk about today. They have a season from July through September that was announced, and we've had the dates for a while, but just last Friday, they released the list for all the counties that will be holding auctions for this year. And lastly, just a reminder at the bottom of the screen here, those states, New Jersey, New Mexico, North Carolina, Tennessee, Ohio, Virginia, Louisiana, and we actually have a few more we're adding right now, like Texas, that have auctions year-round. So you're going to see a lot of states don't really have a season where they are on or off. So that's the bottom half of this calendar is to illustrate that. So let's jump into our first state and talk about Alabama. There's a lot to talk about in the tax auction season. It's in flight. There's all the major counties have released except Montgomery. And of course, I'm going to check as soon as this video is over to see if they announce like right now because we're expecting it any moment. But we'll cover that in a moment on the calendar. I wanted to mention we had a big news flash this week. Alabama's first tax lien foreclosure completed. Okay, and let's talk about what that means. We talk a lot on this channel about the new system versus the old system, and it's not really a versus so much as a understand which system you're buying in so you know how to play by the rules, how to find the right opportunities, and not paint yourself into a corner on a deal that's not going to give you what you want out of it. So when I talk about the first tax lien foreclosure is complete, I'm talking strictly about the new tax lien system that 2/3 of the state has adopted. This is the tax lien sold at auction at 12% interest, and you have a 3-year minimum redemption period where you collect all the tax liens available for that property and you can perform a foreclosure. So we were very honored to interview Greg Stanley from Stanley and Associates this week, who they completed the first tax lien foreclosure, and we have the video on our channel. It's right now. It's at the top of the channel right here. It's the one that actually has faces on it and talking. So we talk about not only the first tax lien foreclosure in the state, but we're also talking in depth about the interest rates and the opportunity in Alabama, because as we're getting several years into this with some of the larger counties, a picture is finally emerging of where are the opportunities in Alabama, where maybe there's not so much opportunity, and what interest rate can you expect on average. There's just more and more data coming in, and so we take a deep dive discussion into that I'm not going to tell you all of it here. Just go watch the video. It's about 20 minutes long. If you're interested in Alabama, it should be a very informative video for you. Hopefully we get some more of those in the future as well. The other big piece of news in Alabama, for weeks and months now, we've been telling you about these over-the-counter properties that the state removed from inventory. It was about 2,500 if I remember correctly. So a couple thousand or more properties removed from inventory statewide. And this was so they could review the legal descriptions. And we had people actually call the state and ask why, and that's what we were told. So we didn't get a date for when those properties would be returned to inventory, but I'm excited to tell you about a week ago they returned to inventory. And if you are on our Facebook group as a subscriber, you would have seen the announcement within minutes that told you these properties are now available. First come, first served from the state. You should get in and get your application in. So a lot of you were on the front lines for that and were able to get in that amazing opportunity. And so what we're going to talk about is how you can benefit even if you didn't get in on that announcement. Even if you're just now hearing about it for the first time, there's still opportunity for you there. So we're going to cover that. But first, to round out Alabama's overview here, and just, I guess a reminder, first of all, we do have a stack of Alabama auction videos. If you subscribe to this channel, you might be getting tired of Alabama. We are getting to the end of the videos for Alabama, though. There's been a lot to focus on. It's been a very big year for Alabama. Next week, I promise we will not focus on Alabama in our market video. So if you're getting tired of Alabama, just wait. Next month, you'll be tired of Florida because we're going to talk about it a ton. So this is the timeline for Alabama's auction season and over-the-counter season. And we're going to place the marker right there. We are right in the middle. If you didn't see that, that was on top of the auction season. We're in the middle of auction season at the beginning of May right now. So there's always opportunities year-round from resellers, land banks, over-the-counters. But this is the peak of auction season as well. So let's go talk about this opportunities in Alabama. Again, this is the video on our channel where you can hear more discussion about tax lien foreclosures and the tax lien opportunity. But let's take a look at the auction calendar. So right here, you can see in April, there were 11 auctions that we just closed out. And then if you move on into May, this is where the auctions really start to hit. And just starting off with May 1st, we have Etowah with over 2,000 parcels right out the gate. Moving on, and May 2nd is going to have 12 auctions on the same day. Some of them are smaller, but there's some notable counties here with Calhoun and Madison. Moving on, May is just full of these auctions. The big one's May 14th. We have Jefferson, Birmingham, Jefferson, Bessemer together. Actually, May 13th, let's don't overlook Mobile with 8,000 properties. And so on. And we'll be seeing more come up in June as well as the season unfolds. So that's where we are in the auction season. But now let's talk about those opportunities that I mentioned where if you were not on the front lines to get your application in for those 2,500 parcels that were added back to inventory, here's how you can see sort of a roundabout way of getting those properties. So I'm looking at Alabama. I'm looking at all counties. Of course, you can filter further if you would like. And I'm going to clear my filters here and choose resellers only, okay? And if I click go, I get 250 results here. And let's see, still loading here. So basically, this is a mix of properties that you can make a direct offer to a parcel fair user who is holding the price quote, or these are resellers who either hold the property already as a deed, or they're considering buying with the price quote, and you could maybe buy from them as well. So how do you know the difference, and what do you do? Just start with your usual research. You would look for a property that you're interested in, and I like to click Find on Map, and then I'll click Full Details here. And this one's actually, well, let's not use this example. Let me back up. So looking at this one, we'll do Find on Map. And this one has a direct offer available to another parcel fair user, which you can fill out this form and be connected with the person who has a price quote and see if they're willing to sell it and negotiate a price. So it's a $20,000 house on a vacant property address. And so if this fits your strategy, maybe that's one you would like to try to buy and not wait. If you want to buy quickly, this is a good way to do it. And so the other side of this, besides direct offers, I would like to talk about is the Anderson Realty Group. Let's just go to Birmingham only. And now you can see Anderson Realty Group here in the mix. They've been great friends of ours from the beginning of Parcel Fair, and we've just enjoyed working with them. And I want to brag about their services for a minute, because if you're buying, especially like secondhand like this, here we have like a mechanic shop, it looks like. This is going to be on the high end. This is commercial property, so it's very expensive relatively. But you can buy now from Anderson Realty Group for $47,000. That's the tax deed on this property from 2008. So that's a lot of back taxes have accrued on this property. If you wanted to do that, this purple button is where you would click, and it takes you straight to their website, where you can see they already have other photos of this already. So they have more recent photos than even the Google site, the Google Street View. So you can see there's like a functioning business there, it looks like. So maybe if you're a commercial buyer, you could buy the taxes on this and do something with it. But let me show you more about Anderson Realty here. So their homepage, you can see their available property list here. By the way, they even wrote the book on financing, owner financing tax properties in Alabama. This is like the rent-to-own type of strategy, lease-to-own. So the 12 Steps book is here, great for you if that's a strategy you want to get in. You can kind of browse these properties here, and let's see. So yeah, just shopping around here, you can see the price and a photo. Let's take a look at, well, actually I have some pulled up already. So let's jump over to this one. So you can see this property is available to order now. The price is $15,000 for the tax deed. And a little more information here. So you can see it's vacant and fair condition, but it's missing some windows and doors. So vacant means you can go and start working with it now, once you have the deed, that is. And looking at these photos, we're looking at a brick structure, again, missing some doors and windows, but that gives me a great idea of what I'd be dealing with looking at this property. So that's one thing I really like about Anderson, is we can get some additional photos. Let's take a look at the next one here. And this is a similar type of thing, $15,000 also. Click the red button to order now, and then we can see photos of the property right here if we want to get an idea of what it looks like. We can also see it's vacant, fair condition, and this one's also missing some windows and doors with some soft damage. Again, moving on, it's kind of repetitive here, but at the same time, I want you to see that there are a lot of opportunities you could be shopping. These are obviously going to be tax deeds that you could apply for and wait for, but this is the great strategy if you want to go ahead and buy quickly in Alabama. You can buy these essentially, you would fill out the order now form right here. And what happens after that is that Anderson begins the process to make sure you're good with the sales contract to purchase the deed. And then what happens is they use an attorney, it's actually Stanley & Associates as well, to perform a closing on this property where your money would be put into escrow for buyer protection, and the attorney actually would purchase and execute the price quote instead of the seller. So that protects you as the buyer, because the seller does not get the money until the transaction is complete and you have the deed in hand. That closing, the services that they offer with closing actually include transferring the deed as well. So you're basically getting an out-of-the-box full closing with escrow services, deed transfer, and it's all included in this price, $13,000. That includes all of those closing services, buyer protection, escrow, all that. So it's a complete package. It's full service tax deed purchasing. I recommend for investors, you really should keep multiple strategies in your back pocket. This is a good one for buying in the short term while you're waiting to buy from the state, or waiting to buy maybe from a land bank, or maybe you're waiting to foreclose on some auction properties. This is a great way to get property working for you and making you some cash flow in the short term. So, we've never really focused on this reseller on the channel, so I really wanted to take time and explain how that works. So, hopefully that was useful to you. And as far as that goes, Alabama, we go over this in a lot of videos, but if you wanted to instead switch over and check out the auctions, you can go to the auction calendar, or you can just click upcoming auctions on any county and filter it this way. You can go to any county with an upcoming auction, and let's find a good one. I think Otago is kind of a smaller county, and let's filter by improvements only. Oops. So 200 properties. Let's say the total value needs to be at least $20,000. And let's say the taxes owed, which is the amount the lien would cost me. Let's say I only want to spend $500 to $1,000. So I'm going to put a range on that. And then lastly, so that's 53 properties. That's pretty good. Let's see if we can find one with the owner is out of state. Oh, wow. 5 properties. Okay, so that really took us down. So out of that 250 property auction, I took it down to 5 that I want to bid on, because the owner lives out of state. The taxes are cheap for what I want to see. The values is over $20,000, and the county record shows that there's a house on it. So there's the tax lien available. It's for $619 within my range, and I can click on the upcoming auction button under purchase options to see when and where, how to register, follow the links to register, get more information about the tax sale, or just see the auction list. So that's the big time saver for you if you are trying to buy in Alabama. We just try to put it all in one place for you. Okay, so that's enough for Alabama. Let's talk about Maryland. So we have 10 upcoming tax lien auctions available now. This is starting to really heat up the auction season. I expect by the time you watch this video, there's probably going to be 12 or even more auctions. We see them popping up every day. So yeah, more lists are being released each week. Right now, there's 22,438 tax liens advertised across the 10 auctions. Originally, there were over 25,000. This is after a big wave of redemptions have come in, and so we still have over 22,000 in those 10 auctions, which is great. So here are the dates. Quickly, we'll go look at the calendar for a better view of this, but that's just sort of a quick view. And don't forget that our site offers photo and video scouting services in Maryland, as well as several other states, Virginia included. So let's make sure you keep that in mind if you need someone to check out a property for you. So looking at the auction calendar for Maryland, you can see April closed out just one auction for Calvert, and then we moved right into even several days that have multiple auctions, like May 9th, we have Kent and Caroline. May 13th is Prince George's and Frederick. These auctions are decent size. There's hundreds of properties in these, and then of course 4,000 in Prince George, so it's a larger one. If we move on down the list, of course, Baltimore City has 14,000 properties in their auction. We talk about that one quite a bit. So today, let's pick a different one and not Baltimore City. Let's go for Queen Anne's and take a look. And we're just going to go unscripted and just drill through this auction the way we like to show people. So let's get a lay of the land here. We're talking about, in markers and overlays, I can draw county borders by clicking this link. And so we're talking about this county. I'm going to move this for contrast. This is the county here. It's an odd shape. It's got quite a bit of coast. And across the bridge, it goes straight over on this side to Annapolis. And then if you keep going towards D.C., that's how this county is situated. And it's just, I guess you'd say it's south and southeast of Baltimore. But there's, again, a lot of coastal area. And let's turn the satellite back on just to see. It's a very green area. It's not like an overdeveloped downtown urban area. There's actually quite a bit of acreage even. You can see like here's a 25 acre, this would be a tax lien for $13.89, and that's available in London. We don't have street view there because there's really no street that gets to it from what I can see on the map. And if you want to find out more about the auction, let's click that. It's May 21st at 4 p.m. Online real auction, and that's how you would register for the sale. So there are residential properties around, plenty of rooftops here. So I guess on that note, let's go do some filtering. Let's open up the search filters, and let's go with, let's clear those out. Let's do acreage first. Let's look at 10 acres and above. So there's 17 of those. And what is this one? This is, wow, that's 14 acres of commercial land on the water. And let's go see, sometimes I want to see, it's $4 million value. I'm curious from the legal description. Yeah, this is I was looking to see if it was a unit, but based on the legal description, there doesn't say unit or apartment on there or anything. And since the tax lien is $43,000 on $4 million, I think that's pretty conclusive that you're actually buying the 14-acre property with, you're buying the lien on that 14-acre property rather. So that's interesting to see something that large and that expensive. I actually see some more here, some acreage on the water. This is about 50 acres on roughly worth $500,000. It's a lot of land to be waterfront too. I'm surprised to see that. So that's a look at some of the land. We looked at the 17 parcels. If that's your strategy, then that's a quick way to just see things like this. Looks like some timberland here, and not much to see there, but 46 acres. And then let's flip the filters here and clear them. Let's go for improvements. Oops. Let's go for improvements now. And we're going to say minimum value is $50,000. And let's just do, let's see, feeling indecisive. Let's do a minimum 1 acre, which probably isn't going to do much. I actually did. So we want at least an acre, and we'll do out-of-state owners and take it down to 9 properties. So the real needle in the haystack there, 9 properties out of the entire auction that have out-of-state owners and that have everything that we're looking at. Price-wise, value-wise, that's quite a commercial building there. That's interesting. Let's see, there's a yacht yard or boat yard. That's interesting. There's always a first for when I'm looking through these auctions. There's always something new. So, anyways, that's again kind of an unscripted look at the auction of 478 properties. How you can slice it into what you want to see. There's a lot of filters here for you to play with and find what you're looking for. Lots of counties as well for Maryland. So I think we're going to do a video on Maryland next week as our market focus. So we should have more auctions to talk about then, and we'll give a nice overview, maybe some totals of how much is available in the auctions, how much tax revenue is being recovered, and just try to really focus in on that opportunity of what's available. Oh, one last thing. I didn't show you the scouting services. So take any property like this one. Great example, there is no street view available. So the blue button under the street view picture says order photos and videos. You just fill out this form and someone will get in contact with you with quotes about how to get photos and maybe even video of the property. We'll talk about how many photos you want, the angle, the price, all that. So it's a quick way to get a scout if you don't have one in the area. And I keep saying one last thing. I always have to remind myself, we have a lot of OTC liens available in the state, but a concentration of it in the Baltimore City area. That's Baltimore City as a county. There are essentially 1,622 over-the-counter liens available right now. And if you want to buy over-the-counter, it's one of the better supply markets that we've seen, especially in Maryland. Okay, so Arkansas, the auction season is here. Finally, we've been talking about the dates for so long, and now we have list advertisements and actual properties. We love the Commissioner of State Lands website, the cosl.org. That's where we go for everything we need for these auctions. There were about 6,000 parcels advertised. Every county loaded up just fine into the system except one. Garland had a different type of advertisement with a different format, so we're going to need to revisit pulling in mapping data for you, but all the counties are available except Garland right now. The auctions announced are going to range from July to September. On the OTC side, before we switch over and look at that auction calendar, there were like 1,600 added in the last quarter of 2023, and it really slowed down in the last quarter to about 100 added in the first quarter of 2024. And 28 were added in April, so we'll see how it goes in May. Not sure what to expect really, because there's not really an announced schedule for this. Those OTC tax deeds are available via year-round purchases from the Commission of State Lands website. These are miniature auctions that run every day to purchase these leftover tax deeds, but you just shop on them on their website, or you can shop on Parcel Fair and all the opportunities in one place the same way. So let's take a look at that auction calendar for Arkansas. One of the interesting things about Arkansas is that these auctions are in person. So when you see 5 auctions like this on the same day, what they've done is they actually are running 5 counties together. You see how small these are: 21, 23, 67, 16, and then the 156. Those auctions are going to be in the same location, and just since they're bothering to set up an auction, they'll just knock out 5 counties. So you see July 11th for Pulaski, there's 520 properties in the auction, and it's just 1 county that day. These are, again, tax deeds that you're buying. The redemption, from what we understand from the state, is the redemption ends the day of the auction. So whenever end of business is pretty much the last chance the owner has to come back for the property, unless there was some type of mistake in the advertisement or a legal issue, but that's going to be pretty rare. So you're buying these redemption-free tax deeds from Arkansas, and again, in-person auctions is kind of a barrier for some people that can't make it to Arkansas. But if you can get there, the opportunity is pretty great. So you can surf the calendar like this and look for the number of parcels per auction. You see Garland, again, no parcels available yet. That advertisement was a one-off. We're going to pull separately. But these other counties all have numbers for the parcels. And just depending on the area you want to invest in, or maybe the volume you want to do, it may affect which day you would shop. So again, a lot of these days have multiple auctions listed, but that's really all in the same place. So let's just pick one of these, and we're way off in the unscripted territory here. I'm just going to map Craighead County because it's kind of a strange name. All right, so let's first of all, let's go to markers and overlays, turn on our county borders so we can see where we're looking, and I'm going to switch over to map to get that nice high contrast view. So Jonesboro is the general area for this county, and these properties are kind of spread out. There's only 40 of them, and so really surfing around the map in the helicopter mode like this, especially with like a satellite view on, I mean, I can see rooftops, but I think I'd rather just go to the parcel results here on the right and view these in a grid. And what that lets me do is break away those 40 parcels, and now I can sort by the acreage if I want. Let's see, we have the biggest property is only 1 3/4 acre. That's not huge, but the amount due is $1,000. So that's where the auction would start, is the opening bid at $1,000. And it actually has a small building on it. I always wonder, when a building is valued at something like $1,800, what is that building going to be? And in this case, we don't have Google Street View, but from the satellite, let's just zoom in on this satellite version. We can see a small rooftop here. It may be a shed, and it could be even a vehicle or a trailer, I don't know. But at $1,800, if that's a trailer, my guess is that it's not included in the assessment, because that would be very cheap. And I think the $1,800 assessment is going to be dealing with this outbuilding here. I can see why there's no Google Street View, because that road is absolutely dirt, and I don't think Google typically does that. In fact, let's if I drag my little Google person, you can see the car got to here and then turned around and stopped. Literally into the road. Google stopped right there and decided not to go trespass either, so they turned around and went back down County Road 403. So that's unfortunate that we don't have Street View on it, but in rural areas that's of course pretty common. So back to my list over here. If I want to sort by total value, I can see the most expensive property is $281,000, and just kind of glancing down the list of these values, Let's pick a moderately, 10,000 in land, 82,000 that, and we did get a satellite view and a street view this time. Good. Google did drive the car here, and they did send the satellite over it, so we're in good shape. So the breakdown on this property, we can see 0.2 acres, valued at $92,000, and it's occupied. But let's check out the purchase option here for the tax deed auction. It's going to show us the Hilton Garden Inn right here in Jonesboro, Arkansas. September 4th, 10 a.m. You have plenty of time to research these properties, literally months in advance. And if I want to see the tax sale info, I can go to the COSL website or straight over to the auction list if I want to go that way. And this is the actual advertisement by the county. If you ever wondered what that looked like, this is where you could view it directly. So other than that, we do have a lot of links that can help you out. On the right side, this Commissioner of State Lands parcel info link will take you to a state page. This is actually just a synopsis of the taxes and legal description. That's probably more for the homeowner than an investor. This property report card on Data Scout is more for what you would be interested in as an investor. Data Scout is a third-party site that Arkansas uses for some of this deeper data like deed transfers. You can keep looking here through quite a bit of information that just would let you dig in deeper on the property. Porch in the driveway, there's a screen porch, chain link fence, a lot of odd details that you can just pluck out of this. So they have the extra links there, and let's do one last thing. Let's go back to, I lost my list. There it is. Let's check out something. Let's just go for the highest valued property and talk about the bidding process here. So the amount due on this one is $10,000. That doesn't mean that, like in some states, that's 1 year of taxes, especially if you're buying tax liens. You have to remember that states like Arkansas, they do issue these liens on properties behind the scenes, but you as an investor can't buy those. What happens is years of delinquent taxes pile up, and I think in Arkansas it's either 2 or 3 in this case, where there's multiple years of delinquent taxes have gone into this opening bid. And that's basically why your deeds are typically more expensive than liens, because it's usually not just 1 year of taxes. There's usually more involved. Potentially even like a tax foreclosure process where they have cleared out some of the other liens just to package it into a deed like this. So again, you would be bidding up at these auctions, and we'll do a video on this later, but just so you know, it's bid up, and you would start at $10,000, and the winner essentially gets the property that day with no redemption. So then you would, of course, if you want to use the property, you use the property. If you want to flip it, you probably would clear the title and pay some legal fees for that. But that's kind of the game, the playbook in Arkansas is buy the property and start using as soon as you're able to. Okay, so that's good for Arkansas today. Let's talk about Utah. This has been at the bottom of our list for ages, but the spring auction season is finally here. Last year, we only covered a handful of counties, and this year we've started off strong with 7 auctions we're tracking. We are literally loading the mapping data now on some of these. It's some of these are coming up soon too, so we're hustling to get this out to you. And I think even since I made this slide, there have been more auctions released. Once we have Utah kind of under our belt, we'll be much smoother about getting these out there. They will be much closer to the advertisement date and more kind of an automatic fashion, but the first time we do any market, we have to feel our way through it. So that's where we stand with Utah. Let's take a peek at their auction calendar. There's not a ton to see here, but we'll take a look at it. Really, it's kind of a starting point for you to look at is we'll be adding a lot to this, and let's just check out this Box Elder County. So let's see, let's kind of get my bearings here. Let's hit the markers and overlays and draw the county borders, and let's go map on this, and let's just take the first property and hit find on map. So we're talking about a 52-acre plot of land right here. Let's satellite it again. It looks like it's on a mountain or some type of mountainous area. As far as roads go, I'm not sure if that's a stream, or I think that's a stream. There may not be road access to this. I mean, if you've invested in real estate out west in some of these states that have just some barren areas, desolate areas like this, you know that you can buy a lot of acreage, but you may not have power, water, or road access and things like that. It's definitely not internet and maybe no cell service. So owning land, if that's what you like, this is maybe a good opportunity. But let's just kind of scrolling down through some of these opportunities here. I see a lot of these look the same. I mean, this is, at least I see a few trees here, but I can guarantee you the Google car did not drive to many of these properties. In fact, on the right-hand panel, you see these satellite images. Parcelfair knows if there's not a Google Street image, it will show a satellite image here. So we can just scroll and see if if any of these properties might have had the Google car give us a street view. I still don't see any. So this is maybe not the best example auction to look at first, but again, if you're buying land, I don't know if you can get a price per acre much cheaper than this. What I mean is, let's see, let's do acreage at least 50 acres out here. That takes us down to 7 properties. Let's just hit go on those 7 properties. And let's talk about, so this one is on the road. Let's talk about the, well, the total value is $12,000. That's amazing that the county values that so cheap. Let's find something valued a little higher maybe. Sorry, some of you that invest in Utah are probably laughing at me right now. I just fumbling my way around this auction. So this one's valued at $32,000. It does seem to have at least close to road access, if not exactly road access. But $32,000. It looks like the opening bid's only $734 on this. I just, if I sound surprised, it's because I am. Let's open up the property card on this property from our research link here. So yeah, this takes you to the Box Elder County website where there are a lot of different pages to click through. You can find out more about the valuations on this link. You can, so the history, you can find out the taxes owed, estimate the future taxes owed, if there was any type of improvement, we could find out more about it here. But that's, again, let's go see if we have anything with improvements in this auction. One. We have one property with improvement. So let's, for variety's sake, let's take a look at this property that has improvements. Valued at $357,000 on 1.12 acres. The amount due or the starting bid in this auction is going to be $8,967. So that's probably more similar to what you see in tax deed auctions in other states. Let's click on the purchase option here for the upcoming auction. We're looking at publicsurplus.com are going to be hosting the auction on May 16th. There's a lot of links here. You can register, you can see the info, view the list. We can actually take you straight up to bid on this parcel if you click that button. So that will take you to this property, and you can go ahead and start. If the bidding had started, you could bid on it, I guess. But at this point, you look no further. This is the property page where you would find it on Public Surplus. So, you know, sorry about the rough landing there in Utah. It's let's see. Let's check out. Let's just map this tiny little auction here too. 7 parcels. Looks like a different part of the state that you can just tell immediately. The color of the geography is different, and the prices are much different. So this is a $445,000, 63 acres of land. In the county we were in a moment ago, that might have gone for a tenth of that. That's crazy. So we're in Washington County. And let's go check out on the research link for this one. I clicked on the property card. Hopefully the site will load. This is the county's website for Washington County, and there it is. So yeah, same story here. You can look at the left side and click different links about this property if you want to see the value over the years or something like that. It's kind of a slow site, it looks like. We're going to wait a few seconds here and see if the valuations load. There we go. So yeah, valuation history looks kind of flat. And actually, I apologize. I was looking up to top to bottom. For 2019, it's more than doubled in value. So you see tracking this way. Okay, sorry for the confusion there. This has been the most confusing state I've looked at in a while. Looking at Washington's auction here, let's just find one last property. And this one is $569,000. It's actually a house. The opening bid is $17,800. So this is more what you're used to seeing in other states probably. And again, if you want to bid on the property, click on the purchase options link, register for the sale here, and all the information. You click bid on the parcel and go straight to the page where you can bid on the parcel once the bidding has started. So that's everything for Utah today. Let's switch over and let's talk about Ohio. We've been telling you for a while about the sheriff sale auctions that are available throughout the year. These are tax deed foreclosure auctions. We had 64 scheduled for May, 21 already for June and July, and we are adding land banks very soon. And we do have a video on this as well. We'll take a peek at the auction calendar. There's not a lot of new information to cover that we haven't covered previously, but worth taking a peek. Let's close out on April and pull up May. So a few of these auctions have been announced but don't have parcels in them May 3rd. Since that is so soon, my best guess is that the parcels were pulled, rescheduled, or canceled for a later auction, so we'll probably see those pop up in June. And a lot of auctions here going on, and the opportunity here is nice. You're actually buying from a mixture of tax foreclosures and lender foreclosures. And just clicked on the first one I saw. So you can take a peek at the right side here, some of these previews. A lot of them are houses, and a lot of this is an opportunity to buy, maybe do like a flip or do a rental property out of this. And if we pull up this one, let's talk about what kind of deal we're looking at. The amount due is just the opening bid is $18,160 for a $43,000 valuation property. County valuation could be a little low for the appraisal. That's a good reason to check your comps. But if you wanted to go bid on this, there's the upcoming auction right here, and it's on real foreclosure on May 17th. You can register, view the information, view the list from these links right here. If you wanted to know more about this property, you can actually go to the auditor report by clicking our research link. Let me show you that again. Research links here. The auditor report is the first one under Montgomery County links. And that takes us to a page just for this property with more information about it. Some of these details you might care about. You see like central heat, hot air gas, aluminum vinyl. There's all kind of things that might matter to you just depending on how specific your strategy is, if you're trying to get rentals, if you're just focusing on what you have to rehab. So there's a lot to check out on these county sites that we link to. Moving on to Virginia, this is an all-year tax season that we've been tracking, and here's the upcoming schedule. Right now there are 4. I would imagine even by tomorrow there will be more on the site to be added. And don't forget, we have photo and video scouting services now available in Virginia. So check these out. Won't spend much time on these today. We've had other videos about Virginia. You can certainly take a deeper dive on those. But if we wanted to see something in these auctions, let's look at these 14 properties, and there you go. So, wow, it's just a beautiful area where this is. There's a lot of trees and greenery. But this is where you would find out information about the property, including the purchase option for where to buy it. This is mostly in-person auctions in Virginia, somewhat of a mixed bag. There are some online. This one is at the county fairgrounds. So that's everything for Virginia we're going to show you today. Oh, and yeah, we do have a video for you to check out in Virginia. We already mentioned that. New Jersey, the auction season continues. It's been nonstop for over a year. Party continues. There are only 2 auctions scheduled so far in May, Stowe Creek and Greenwich. If you want to shop in those, they're at the end of the month. It's a nice opportunity, steady flow of tax liens in New Jersey if you're interested in that market. But we have a video that covers more info. We made that video during one of the heavier parts of the season, so there's a lot more to see than just 2 auctions. But yeah, check that out if you want to know more about New Jersey. North Carolina is another continuous auction season. They are in person from everything we've seen. We've tracked well over 500 auctions now. 235 of those were in April, 93 already scheduled in May. Remember, some of these auctions move quickly because they are upset bids. We track those as auctions because the upset bids follow a date. If you want to know about upset bids and pending auctions and scheduled auctions, there's a lot of moving parts in North Carolina. It's not complicated, it's just you just need to understand what you're looking at. So we have an Intro to North Carolina Tax Deed Auctions video that you can really get up to speed on how the state works. Again, there's the pending auctions that don't have scheduled dates yet. You can see those in Parcel Fair. There are scheduled auctions that have a date when you would show up and bid. And then there's upset bids, which are auction or properties that already sold at auction, but you can still place bids even though the auction has ended. Up to a certain date, you can upset the winning bid with a higher bid. So let's jump in New Mexico here. This season, I left March and April on here so you get a feel for the steady flow of auctions every month. May only has one right now for Valencia. June has one for Mora County. And so these are kind of smaller auctions. Let's go see how big they are. So New Mexico on my auction calendar. There's the one in May has 58 properties and Mora has 53. So they're not tiny. They're tax deed auctions and they're somewhat desirable as far as tax deed auctions go. Just remember that in New Mexico, it's the rare case where the tax deed that you're sold does not extinguish a mortgage from a lender. So if someone has a mortgage with the bank and stop paying their mortgage, typical tax deed foreclosures are going to foreclose on the owner and the bank because they're both delinquent. New Mexico actually does not bother to extinguish the mortgage. So that's just a little footnote there. You need to do your homework before you buy New Mexico, just so you don't end up on the wrong side of a mortgage. We do have a tax deed auction video that covers a lot of the ins and outs if you want to see that. It's on our channel here. Tennessee is a all-year season. We did change the interest back to 12%. It's flip-flop between 12 and 10 on our video series. The state has a statute stating 10%, and people going to the auctions and participating online are getting 12%. So we're just going to go with reality and say 12%. 1 year redemption on those deeds. We just wrapped up a couple auctions, a big one on Shelby County that got moved from March to April, that it just happened about a week ago. Shelby's usually the largest auctions there. Montgomery's coming up. It only has a single property in that auction. But the big news for Tennessee is that we finally have an auction date for Knox County, or the Knoxville area. We had guesstimated that it would be June 1st, and we were off by a bit. It is actually June 26th. So we've had those properties on the site for months. If you haven't checked them out, I'll show you where to get to them. Let's go to Tennessee on the auction calendar. Let's just map those properties in Knox County. Wow, that's a big chunk of land right there. 81 acres. And the only odd thing is that we've been checking these advertisements daily for Knox County, and while we're able to give you a lot of information about each property, we can get down to some of the details of the property borders, where it's located, but they have not given us an opening bid. So we don't know yet how much these are going to auction for. We're still 2 months out from the auction, so I'm thinking it will show up any day now. In the meantime, you can shop, you can research and maybe save some of these to your lists, or you can create shopping lists, you can add them to your favorites, do things like that in the meantime. But until there's a price, you might struggle with understanding what you're looking at. The Knox County assessor links on the right side here are very useful if you want to see details about any property. There's the valuations or the assessor, even a separate page for the legal description. Most of it's just this left side here. You can just click down the list and see the same links. But lots of research information available online for these parcels if you want to go beyond what we have on the website. So that's good for Knox County. We'll move on, and just casual mention here that there are over-the-counter properties in the Shelby Land Bank in Memphis. So now that the Shelby auction is behind us, you can still buy from the land bank over the counter. We will go through Florida quickly today because you're going to be so sick of Florida a month from now. We'll be talking about it so much because the auctions are starting up this month, and we expect advertisements right now. So by the time you go back on the website, they might already be there. So that's the tax lien auctions. The tax deed auctions, they just go all year. We had 50 scheduled for May. We had about 50 in April, and there's already 20 scheduled for June if you want to look into the future. And of course, the tax foreclosures, or I'm sorry, just the foreclosure auctions, not tax foreclosures. Those happen all year. Just for the general scale, there's about 300 scheduled in May. We already have 200 or so coming up in June. There are more being added. And we already have about 100 in July that you can look at. So these foreclosures, you can go pretty far out into the future and start planning your strategy on those. And lastly, if that wasn't enough opportunity in Florida, we have over-the-counter tax liens and over-the-counter tax deeds. So any time of year, no matter what you want to buy, there's something in Florida going on. Indiana, we went from a hot spring season to off-season overnight. And that's because the spring tax lien auction season ends today. So no more commissioner sales in 2024. The treasurer sales will be coming up very soon. Sooner than you think. I know they're called fall auctions also, but those lists get published pretty early over the summer. So keep an eye out for those treasurer sales coming up. And if you need to be shopping in the meantime, there's always foreclosure auctions. 44 were scheduled in April, and we're looking at 51 more actually coming up in May. Colorado, very much off season. We're way out of season actually. There are OTCs arriving here and there, not many, but you do have foreclosure auctions, 18 of those in May, 12 more scheduled in June so far. And we have a Colorado off-season investing video if you want to see how to buy when we're not talking about the fall auction season. Arizona also off-season, over the counters right now. The 20,000 plus new OTCs were added in 2024. Over 6,000 have sold already. So still a large chunk remaining that people are probably still sifting through. And Mississippi, OTC season again. The auctions wrapped on April 1st. The Mississippi tax forfeited lands is the only game in town right now. These are state held over the counters. About 7,000 of those currently available. And just to give you some numbers here, we've always been trying to figure out and predict when these were going to drop with new releases, but you know, it's anybody's guess. And I think the reason is Mississippi is actually performing a foreclosure, like a tax foreclosure on these properties to put them in their inventory because they're taking liens and turning them into these forfeited lands that they can sell to you. So I think just the legal process, their throughput is between 20 and 50 something a month. So you're averaging about 30 something a month that you're seeing added to the over-the-counters. Texas, very much a preview. We're looking at sheriff sales and more coming up. We are adding county auctions each week. I think we added 2 more counties this week. We would have added more, except there was so much going on with Utah and Arkansas and Alabama. But this is going to take a while. Texas has 254 counties and multiple types of auctions in each county. And these auctions happen every month in some cases. So at any given year, we're going to see thousands of auctions to shop in Texas. So it's a huge area of growth for us. Texas is a massive opportunity, and we're excited to be adding that to the website for you. Again, we're adding counties right now. If there's a county you just can't wait for and you need us to add it sooner than later, just let us know. We'll see what we can do. And just so you know, preview mode really just means that. We're scratching the surface, and we want you to stay tuned because more auctions are coming, but in the meantime, you can enjoy the counties, the handful of counties that we have on the site today. If you want to see that, this is going to look different, in a week or even the next few days. But right now, we're looking at 5 auctions on the site, and 4 of those are in May, and they actually happen a week from now, roughly. But again, more of these coming. These sheriff sales happen every month, so we'll see more and more added to the website soon. While we're talking about preview states, let's talk about Louisiana's adjudicated sales and land banks. We're covering just the Civic Source pending auctions. They're really just like those adjudicated sales. These, when you see pending auction, which is the lion's share of these properties, really like 90% of them are pending auction, they're waiting on you to start the bid. So you can actually start the auction by placing a deposit, and it's not the full bid, it's just a deposit. And I can't stress enough, as every time I mention it, read and understand the rules. There's plenty of differences. I don't care what state you've been investing in, it's not like Louisiana. Learn Louisiana if you're going to invest there. Again, very unique to say the least. If you want to shop the OTC properties, maybe it's a little cleaner for you if you want to buy from like the New Orleans Redevelopment Authority. And we'll be adding more land banks coming soon as well. South Carolina, we have very little to say about it today. We did track a lot last season. We're still trying to get some OTCs, but right now it is one of the lowest priorities for us because we have some upcoming auction seasons coming soon. We're looking at Oklahoma and Nevada should be starting any day now. Just like we mentioned, Florida, these counties will be heating up in these states very quickly. So stay tuned. The auction season overall is just heating up nationwide, and so even though some states are closing out, if you want to become familiar with other states, I hope this channel is useful to you in finding out how these markets work, how to get started in these markets, and just understand the opportunity that's available to you. And we're always excited to have this video every couple weeks, and so I hope you're enjoying it as well. But have a great week, and give us a shout if you want to chat about any of this or have questions. If you want to see these videos and just basically be notified when they're released, you can subscribe to our channel. That helps us out as well. And of course, like the video so that we can get more views. It helps us out too. Just if you enjoy this, there's a like button on the bottom of the screen there, so just click that. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.